Hey guys, so today I just wanted to talk to you about a subject that comes up a lot in uh, stretching videos, and it's skipping sizes. And, pretty much everyone will tell you not to skip sizes, or they'll go one of three ways. One of three ways are either they'll say don't skip sizes, do it, or it depends on your lobes. And when it depends on your lobes, it means how thick they are. I personally have pretty thin lobes, but if you have nice thick ones, you'll be fine because you don't really have to worry about ripping them. But when people think about skipping sizes, it's usually all right when it's between I think it's 20 gauge, which is pierced ears normally, and O gauge, which is 8 millimeters. Um, Normally between there it's fine, but anywhere over it gets pretty dangerous, and you can risk having blowouts, which is when the inside of your ear goes to the back. And I've skipped two sizes. I'm at 6 mils at the moment, and I went from pierced ears to 3 mils, which was pretty painful. But I was just able to do that in the shower with some lube and time and effort. But and then I went from 3 mils the other day to 6 mils, which is, if you know gauges, it's 8 gauge to 2 gauge. So I skipped four sizes, which you're not supposed to skip one. Which yeah, that hurt. Uh, I wouldn't recommend it, but if you don't have enough money to save up for the stretching kits or the amount of stretches, or you just don't have time to, because I mean I've gone from you know 20 gauge to 8 to 2 gauge in, I think it's been 2 weeks. And my lobes are pretty healthy. I mean, I've got my tunnels in at the moment. I don't know how well you can see that, yeah. But yeah, so I've had my ears to 6 mil for a few days now. Not long, but long enough. Like if you look, there's no tears, there's no blood, a little bit of pus, but that's about it. And I'm happy with that. It was bleeding a fair bit when I originally stretched it, but not too bad. I mean, it's was so swollen that I couldn't actually get the taper off. Um, I'll show you the taper. That's the taper. So that's 6 mil. That's 6 mil, and so that's a pretty big jump to go from 3 mil to six, and it's a painful one at that. But anyway, I've got off topic, and I can't remember what I was talking about. But I wouldn't advise skipping sizes, but if you think it's worth the risk, go for it. I mean, I'm happy with my lobes at the moment. Even like I don't really plan to go to bigger sizes. Like I think I'll probably stop at you know double O gauge. Like I won't go into the inches just because it's too big. And at least at this size, like if I decide that I don't want it, I can let it go down and it'll shrink back. But I like having my ears stretched, so I don't think I'll end up taking it out anyway. But it's just there in case. Um, but yeah, I ended up. You're not supposed to do this because with the 3 mil, I was able to fit it in the shower, but with the 6 mil, it was too painful. And I mean, I have a pretty good pain tolerance, and this thing just would not budge. I got it up to about, you can see, I got it up to about halfway, to about there, just before the big jump to where it goes flat, and I couldn't get it over the bit. And it, like, I was using all my force, and I just couldn't get it over. And so I said, you know what, I'll go put some ice on it, just to numb the pain, and I'll just try and, floor it over and see how it goes. And so, I iced it for, I think it was 5 minutes. Um, Put a piece of ice on both sides, and then uh, just stood in front of the mirror and put it back in halfway. And then I just full on pushed down on it and pretty much tried to slam it in my ear. It went straight to the end. But it was painful because my parents don't actually know that my ears are stretched, and it's not too obvious, but obvious to notice, especially when you have this hanging out. And the school didn't want me having it either, so I did it on I think it was a Wednesday night, so I had school the next day. Um, Plus, I had to go and avoid my parents, especially with this thing hanging out of your ear, because I didn't have tunnels at the time, or a plug. I didn't have any plugs for it, and it didn't matter even if I did, because I wouldn't have been able to take the taper out, because it was stuck. I mean, my ears were so swollen they actually went purple, all under the end, and I couldn't budge this thing. I mean, I couldn't even twist it because it was just stuck, and I wanted to take it out, but it hurt too much and it wouldn't move, so I kind of just left it in, and it wasn't until halfway through at about 2:30 the next day I realized I could actually twist it, and I was playing around with it. I went home, and when I got off the bus to take it out, I took it out, and as I took it out, I could feel stuff trickling down, and I thought it was blood at the time, and it was, but it was also a mixture of I'm not sure if it was pus, but it was like a clear fluid. But yeah, it wasn't very pleasant at the time. So yeah, so in conclusion, I guess even though people say it's not a good idea, if you think that your ears can take it, and as long as they've healed up from the last stretch, which is probably why mine were bleeding because I didn't. But if they've healed up from your last stretch, and you're happy with how they are, I'd go ahead with it. I would probably. I know if I could go back in time, I'd probably end up stretching my ear the exact same way that I did. So yeah, I hope that I answered some questions for you. Feel free to like, subscribe, it'd be great and help me out. Cheers, guys.